Okay, we're getting a live button in 3 seconds. What's going on?
Yeah, you just said that live. Wah, 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 wah.
No. There's no such thing as doing it live. Doing it live?
We're doing it live.
Yep. Doing it. Fuck it!
There we go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, I guess, what would be the first hosted on my channel, Gator and Frog Bogcast. Who the fuck is crackling?
Someone who felt like crackling.
Did you just open a bag of chips or something?
I may have moved a bag of chips. I didn't eat one.
So Nemo is the culprit. If you're not careful, I'll make you into a fish fry.
Ooh, fish
Is
fries.
it both the fish fries?
I'm sorry.
So, gentlemen, what are we discussing tonight?
It's all sorts of fun. This is.
There's a whole bunch of things on the list, and it depends on which way you want to start. So let's see. You've got from what I remember the last time, you have a storm coming your way.
I do
Isn't
have
it?
a storm coming. I am totally ready for Irmageddon.
Armageddon.
as long as it doesn't go completely east on you.
It's been inching a bit more towards the west, but very, very little. Looking at the wind speeds, probably this is just for tropical storm force winds, but if I narrow it down specifically to hurricane speed probability, you could see that the chart is going just a little more towards the Tampa Bay area. And
It's a big hurricane. It's a hurricane.
Morty, I turned myself into a hurricane. I'm a hurricane.
You're gonna bury it, Modi. I did it because I can.
So yeah, I'm in this area over here. So at the very worst, I'm gonna get 30% chance hurricane force winds. It could always change, just like it did with Andrew back in '92. It looked like it was going up the East Coast, but then it made a sharp left turn and cut right across the Miami-Homestead area.
Basically, what you're saying is you have either a very sexist hurricane or one that's very brutal.
That would have actually been impressive if we understood what you said. You went very robotic.
Do it again.
Yeah, you need to stop fucking robots.
Yeah, you really do. You get viruses that way.
Yeah.
Oh my. So, we're already bunkered down. Basically, this thing is anticipated to hit us. Let me see here. This thing is anticipated to hit us somewhere starting 8 p.m. 8 a.m. So in less than 12 hours, I would say we're going to start getting dirty winds.
Hate to interrupt, but I truly we didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh, that's right. We did not. We just assume people know who we are. Well, I assume people know who I am. I probably should have introduced my panel. Thank you very much, Draco, for pointing out that I'm a horrible, horrible host. You know what? I've just gotten so used to talking to you guys.
That's just too natural.
It's just too natural. Okay, so we're going to start with the Mr. Robot over to my left. Yes, you're a robot still.
Just, wait, man. Just tiny.
And the Canadian road for those who care.
The robotic road.
I don't know what to say. Anyways, this is the Canadian Rogue, also known as TC Rogue, or just Rogue. Say hi, Rogue. I'll say hi for you. Hi. Moving next to my left, we have Mr. Nemo.
Hi guys, I'm the Australian correspondent. Have a channel beyond politics. Don't really do much work on it right now because I'm just doing stuff. Yeah, that's about my story.
You're moving recently, aren't you?
Yeah, well, you need to find a house first, but I'm trying to move.
I wish you luck. Good thing you're not moving to Florida because we might need to be moving soon too.
That's right.
Uh,
And then to Nemo's right is Draconath. Please introduce yourself.
Hello. Yes, I am Draconath. Yes, I am just a gamer. Neutral party.
So wait, I've been pronouncing it Draconath, and you go Draconath. So.
Yep.
Guys enjoy that as per usual.
I've been enjoying it.
Doesn't
the
know
whole
how to
time,
do the same thing.
You want to know something? It's the Latina in me that has to pronounce every consonant and vowel sound independently.
It's Jennifer Lopez.
I just thought this whole time that it was your little. It was like how Rogue always comes up with these colorful nicknames for me. I thought it was yours. Never said anything.
And I'm still gonna call you Draconath because I'm trying to remember that it's gonna be Draconath. It's not gonna do it.
Well, think of it like this: you pronounce it Draco. If just leave out the end.
Just no. No.
You know what? I'm just gonna stick with Draco, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
All right, so now that we've moved past the hurricane portion of it, you know, passing wind and everything. Ha 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 ha.
Well, kind of. But go ahead.
That joke flew a little over Nemo's head. Ha, ha.
No, I got it, but go.
I'm sorry, Nemo. I am. It touches me deeply inside somewhere below my appendix.
In your subcockle regions.
That to me, it never really struck me that people would be like so concerned, like, oh my god, you're in Florida, oh my god, you're gonna get hit, it's the end of the world. It's like, no, I've been through a few of these in my lifetime. There's things that we do to prepare for this.
Okay, but I'm Australian. Well, not just Australian. I'm Victorian. We don't fucking have hurricanes ever. Okay, so the only metric I have to go by is the movie Twister. Okay.
Okay, a hurricane is a giant, slow-moving twister, slightly less devastating in the immediate, but god damn it, could there be the ramifications otherwise. So
Yeah.
some of the things that we do to prepare, and we're going to just go over this real quick because there are some people watching who might have not experienced a hurricane or are wondering, what do you do in those circumstances? Florida gets a lot of tropical weather. Almost every hurricane season, which is like the end of May to the end of November, we get at least some kind of tropical storm, tropical depression, a hurricane maybe every other year. Basically, yes, it's a lot of wind. There are 5 categories, excuse me. Category 1 and 2, winds can reach up to 50, 60, 70 something miles per hour. 3 could be in the lower hundreds. 4 and 5, now you're talking about 170, 180 mile per hour winds with gusts up to 220. So it sounds like a lot, but that's our way of gauging hurricane strengths, just like how you gauge earthquakes based on how much the seismic activity is. Same thing with typhoons, same thing with tornadoes. That's just our metric of gauging it. So things that we can do to prepare, especially for things like a 3, 4, and 5. Shutters. We basically help prepare by boarding up, steel panels or plywood. Second thing, plenty of water. It is recommended that there's 1 gallon of water per person per day for at least a week.
Wow, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, that is a lot of water, because you want to know something. When the power goes out and there's a lot of flooded water, it can kind of back up the sewage system. So anything that comes out of the tap could be, dirty.
Sewage.
And sewage and infested. So stocking up on water is a must. There have been a lot of people trying to get water, buying the store brands and everything like that, which is fine. But there's always other things that you can do. I've seen people actually buying up Coke bottles just to drain out the soda products. Yeah, just to drain it out, just to fill it up with tap water before the power goes out.
That's clever.
Yep.
That is.
Well, even you can do even cleverer stuff than that, but that's all right.
Some of the things that we've done, especially since Hurricane Andrew, is we've saved our milk jugs and tea jugs. So we've just held on to them and we fill them up. But so yeah, the other people have gotten fill up their tubs. Other people get like these industrial grade totes, and they just fill them up with water, and then they leave them in their showers, because then that's your flushing water, and that's your for washing your hands and stuff, because you still need to stay clean even if the power's out. Stocking up on other supplies such as non-perishable goods, canned foods, batteries, medications are a must. If you have medications for high blood pressure, allergies, whatnot, you want to try to stock up on those. Candles, battery-powered radios, sterno, which you can use for like grilling and cooking, gasoline, propane, and charcoal. Typical things that you would want to use for cooking purposes. If you can, get a generator, but sometimes generators are just not available, so you figure out other things. We got a question from Thexor the Bearded. How fast do utilities return after big hurricanes out there? In my area, for Hurricane Wilma, back in 2005, it took at least 6 days for my block to get power again. But that's because we're on the same power grid as our local police and fire department, which is literally around the corner in walking distance. There were people who were across the street from them who were not on the same grid that took an additional week, so up to 2 weeks. When Hurricane Andrew came through Homestead, there were still people without power for at least 2 up to 3 months.
Holy Jesus.
Mm-hmm. That was...
Speaking of which...
What's up?
Yes.
Your biggest risks are because of the fact that people are using things like the generator, other propane devices, and your biggest tragedies come because of the carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oh, absolutely. The generators need to be outside when they're running. Do not put them inside your house. Do not put them inside your garage, because the carbon monoxide can and will kill you. That
reminds me of that guy that tried to make a dry ice air conditioner and ended up fucking poisoning himself.
Yep.
I mean, it happens. I mean, a little bit of a segue here. Basically, there's this whole article out in the Metro and a few other little places that say that this current hurricane is somewhat sexist because it's got a female name, and people are not really paying attention to it because, again, it's a woman, so why should we take it seriously?
And so for an article like that, it's been written by somebody who's never been through a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, it sounds like someone being visited by Aunt Irma, by the sounds of it. Did you catch my drift?
Just a
I wonder what's Irma upping her ass. No, the problem is that somebody like that is not only ill-informed, they are literally saying things that they have no experience in saying. I've been through multiple tropical storms. I've been through 2 major hurricanes that have knocked out power for at least a week. With Andrew, power was out for 10 days, so almost 2 weeks. It
Katie, just say it. Shut up, you stupid cunt. Just say it.
Yeah, shut up, you stupid cunt. I can't say it with the Australian accent, but
Yeah.
there's other tricks. There's other tips, such as don't leave your house until the storm completely passes over, because especially when the eye comes, at the center of the eye it's completely still, but because the storm is constantly moving, the wind speeds will pick right back up as you enter the eye wall again. So don't leave your house until the storm is completely gone, and that could take anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, depending on how massive the storm is. Andrew was a very condensed storm. It was maybe less than half the size of Florida, whereas Wilma was like twice the size of Andrew. And holy crap, Irma is literally from like Panama City all the way down to the Keys. So yeah, don't leave your house until you're...
It's a huge bitch.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
a
could
huge
be
bitch.
severely unlucky, and Irma could pull a Harvey where she just goes, "I'm staying right here."
Oh, she could dock herself. She could dock herself very well. She could become stationary. That would also suck. Also, do not go walking out into puddles. You do not know where there could be a downed power line, and you could get electrocuted.
You don't know what to
Also, with the rushing current that's existence, about 6 inches of water can take down anybody and drown them.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Wowie.
Other things that we've done is, fill up containers of water and freeze them. It'll help keep the food in your fridge just a little bit colder, just a little bit longer, so that maybe you can get another day's worth of food out of your fridge before they perish. Survey your surroundings to see what potentially could cause your house some damage. Hey, Edgewood, how you doing? I took a walk around my house. We really don't have much other than there's a lake behind us. There's 2 houses on either side of us. There's a tree in our front yard, and then there's a tree in our neighbor's front yard. The worst thing that could happen to us in such high winds is the tree in front of us could come down and it could damage the front bathroom that we have, which is what we're remodeling anyways. So
that could benefit you.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
but at least we know what to expect and not know where not to be in case something happens. If you have pets, have leashes, harnesses, and carriers ready in case you need to go in the event of emergency. Have your
Give me a noodle.
Huh?
Noodles.
Like
the little floaty noodle things.
Oh, sure, you could have a pool noodle. I don't know how helpful it would be, but you could have a pool noodle.
Really helpful.
Yeah, if you really must, you can, but it's probably going to hinder you more than help you.
Well, it may
You cut them up and you put them on either side of the carrier. And
oh yes, a little flotation device.
Well, see, I thought you were going to use it to get rid of looters.
Well, you can't get rid of looters that way. That's why you have a shotgun.
No, I know, but my joke, the idea of my head was someone trying to fight off a guy with a knife with a fucking pool noodle.
Would do it. I mean,
let's see, what else do we have? I just have a few more items here. Preserve important information. Birth certificates, social security cards, your IDs, anything that you think is like paper important, put in a Ziploc bag, put that Ziploc bag in another Ziploc bag, and keep that on you. Because again, if you have to, in a case of emergency, exit, you need to have that available and protected as much as you can. What else?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
And this might be one you might not be able to answer, but what about is insurance all fucked up over there when it comes like the hurricane insurance? Because I imagine if you get them all the time, wouldn't they just charge you out the arse?
I mean, the way that the state of Florida is now, we only really have two options for insurance. But basically, you know, like any homeowner or renter, because we get storms so frequently, yes, they offer hurricane and tropical storm insurance for house damage, but I think that would just be covered underneath the homeowner's insurance itself.
Okay.
For those who don't heed the advice from local authorities to evacuate, especially because for us, anything east of I-95 is technically a flood zone, but they have made mandatory evacuation orders for anything that's east of US 1, which is kind of closer to the beach area, because that's where the storm surge is going to come in. That's where it's going to flood the most. They had ordered mandatory evacuation. Huh?
If you do evacuate, make sure you have all your junk.
Yeah, well, take what's important to you. Medications, some food, some clothes, and evac. Now, some have evacuated to shelters. Some have evacuated out of the state. Though it's kind of funny because the storm's just going to follow. Because where else are you going to go? Everywhere that you could go in Florida, you have to go north. And the storm is going north. So I understand, get out. And if you can, seek shelter elsewhere, because the storm will die down to a Cat 2 and Cat 1 by the time it gets to Tallahassee. But still, people have left. People know what to expect. Again, after Andrew, after Wilma, they know what to expect. So some have taken the risks of, okay, whatever happens to our house happens, but at least we're safe. Governor Rick Scott has been on the air multiple times over the last few days, basically saying the same thing. Heed our warnings. Evacuate if you can, and do it sooner than later, because the second that the storm comes, it'll be too late. Basically that your possessions can be replaced, but your life can't be, which is true. Others,
well, right now it is, but that cloning technology that's coming.
yes, I have not yet put in my cells yet to be cloned, so I don't have an excuse. Edgewood, when I was living in Florida, we've been through Cat 3 hurricanes. Most that happened to me personally was a week long. Yep, same. Wilma was a 4 up to 5 at her strongest. I think when she made landfall, I think she was like 4. Definitely Andrew was a 5 when he made landfall, because he was just out in the water almost the entire freaking time.
Irma, get out the water!
If you can, also, and then this will be the final thing, and then we can segue away. Document your belongings, since we're talking about that. Document your belongings, because if you have homeowner's insurance and your possessions are covered, you want to keep track of what you have so that you can claim it, so that you can get it replaced. We're going to wake up early tomorrow morning before the storm hits. We're going to finish filling up our totes. We want to do it after we take our showers. That way we're nice and clean for the next 24 to 48 hours. And then while we're doing that, I'm going to go around with our camera and just film each room slowly, just to get an idea of what we have each. And then we'll be okay. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that you've got a plan, and it's... I guess you've gone through this before, but still.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. There are some people, especially since Harvey just happened like 2 weeks ago. I understand people are freaking out, people are scared. The difference between Florida and Houston is approximately 40-50 feet above sea level, whereas the average height elevation in Florida is at least 100 feet above sea level. And at least for most Floridians who are not living on the beach, because that's where most of the businesses tend to be, like I said, anything east of I-95 is considered a flood zone. But we've been through this enough that we're better prepared geographically. We're at a little bit of a more advantage. And because we are so used to the weather being like that, we have better drainage. Because Houston doesn't get, as far as I know, Houston isn't used to taking in all that water at once. Whereas with Florida, we constantly during the normal summertime, we get like rain almost every other day. Now, mind you, not a lot of rain, but we do get a decent amount of rain. And the Everglades are like 50 miles just west of us. So we geographically, again, we're better prepared to handle something like Harvey or Irma.
Okay.
So a lot of, we're sitting here like, yes, we're worried, but we know that we're in a better situation. And that's not to demean, that is absolutely not to demean anyone out in Houston. I'm just saying this as a from a perspective of fact. It's two different locations.
Basically, what you're doing is you're looking at it as a spectrum.
Exactly. Florida's full of its nature form of you. Oh no, man! Why?
See, it sounds like it. Yeah. Well, one it's mostly old people and oranges.
Mostly.
Yes, mostly old people and oranges.
All
Okay.
right.
So, with that out of
on
the
that
way, on all that bullshit and cringiness, let's go to another form of cringiness.
All right. Let me go ahead.
Yeah.
The link.
Go.
Copy address link. And
To Bill Nye, the science guy. Well,
Bill Nye, the cringy guy.
Yeah, fucking. Fuck you, Bill Nye. You really like slaughtered my.
Bill Nye.
I loved you once upon a time.
Once upon a time. Bill Nye's
As
cringy
it
episode
stands.
featuring My Sex Junk song nominated for Emmy.
Oh, yeah.
Shall I read, or should we just discuss the topic?
No.
Let's not read and let's just kind of go over to the actual topic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what it is. Just for a quick recap, it's that song that they fucking did during his show, Bill Nye Saves the World.
It's to be a solid recap, it's Bill Nye Saves the World, and it's based off of his episode called Sexual Spectrum. They're going to be winning, or at least earning a possibility of a nomination for not just that, but for the musical number My Sex Junk.
Yep. I'm more surprised they're actually getting an animation for it.
Well, basically, this is just the left patting themselves on the back because, again, these are awards that are kind of focused on the left side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Well,
All the award shows currently. Yeah, but if you look at it, Draconath, if you look at it, all the people from the left are the only ones receiving the awards, or only showing up to these events. They're only getting the pass because they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considered conservative or Republican showing up to these things?
Yes, but Bolton.
With these award shows, whether it be the American Music Award or whatever, just a pointless pat on the back for job well done, for heavily pandering to some ideological ideas or religious belief that they have that is more based on social science than biological science.
Yeah. It's just, this song was just so void of anything. Like, it's taking that ideological thing to the whole new level that it gets a fucking Grammy. Like, That song was borderline, was beyond cringe. It's like, yeah, just, yeah.
Mommy, I went and pooped
That's
in
why
the
sex
toilet.
joke
Good
is so.
job,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm almost speechless for this one. That's the thing. Is that deserves a fucking, what was it, Emmy?
Yeah. Apparently, it's getting an Emmy.
Yeah, like, that's just beyond discussing that. Like, it was, like, it's aimed at kind of kids, and I've seen that episode, and it's pretty fucking out there. You know? And I don't know, I'm just sad.
Again, like we pointed out, it is just kind of going on the. It's just a spectrum. Gender is fluid and all this kind of stuff, rainbows and horseshoes and Pikachus and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
It's so you're looking at Bill Nye, who's going to be kind of passing off all the social sciences, biologicals. You're going to have Rachel Bloom, who's going to be doing most of the song and dance. Huzzah!
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, but the problem with this is it challenges like that whole series. Like all the ideas put onto it and everything like that, it makes it propagandary.
Well, again, it's true because if you look at it, he's got his own version of Sit Down, based on climate changes and that, which again panders towards the left-leaning equals for the most part, and trying to debunk the ones who are skeptical about the climate changes and would like to have a little bit more
nuance,
and not just more nuance. There's more to it than just man done fucked up. How do we fix it?
Yeah, you know, and because I think most even right-wing people go, okay, there's clearly some sort of climate thing going on right now. They go, but is it like fucking, throat on our necks, we're gonna die and explode in 5 seconds, or is it just we're going to get a bit warmer in the next 100 years, which may cause some environmental changes that are not nice, but the funny thing is, Earth's a pretty fucking smart, force. It can survive a few degrees. It
has.
Exactly.
It's been surviving a few degrees for a very long time. Man has been getting used to the whole idea of the climate.
So
it's only been the last, we'll say, about 100.
Yeah. Go.
Instead of just calling you the Canadian Robo, I think we'll just call you the Canadian Terminator.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me.
Yeah, but that's exactly right. Like well, that's the thing. I think definitely climate change is a thing, but I reject the idea that it's world-ending or catastrophic towards a global thing because the world's too smart to survive to be killed by us, in my thoughts. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad as they say it is.
Yeah. But anyway. Next!
Ow! I was just going to say, let me put my 2 cents in before we actually move. As far as climate change goes, yes, it is a thing, but I don't think that there's much that we can do about it other than the immediate, don't litter, pick up your shit, don't dump stuff where it's not supposed to be dumped, and for the most part, we'll get by just fine. We inhabited this planet too. We are creatures of innovation and comfort. This is how we live and evolve. Yes, sorry. Things happen, things change. Guess what? Animal species have been dying off millions and millions of years before us. It's the nature of the world. The world itself evolves. There's things that we can... Yes, there are things that we can do, but going to the crazy extent of, oh my god, we need to change strictly to solar power or wind power. But there are other options that we have been using that are actually more financially fiscal for most people, easily accessible, and actually aren't that bad in the long run. You're making it harder for people, less financially And
Sound.
yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, sorry.
My argument has always been, unless you have two planets the exact same, one without humans and one with humans, and are able to scientifically compare how much humans actually affect the environment, I can't fully agree and get on board with this whole climate change. And no, that's not being a climate denier. Yes, the climate changes. Climate's been changing well before humans ever got here. It's called the Ice Age. And we've been through 5 of them, and we're technically still in one because we still have ice caps.
That's right. Antarctica is not supposed to exist, motherfuckers!
And on that note of transitioning...
Oh, yes, let's go there.
Copy address link, and we are going to transition to this article.
This cancer.
Right, it's beautiful. It's hilarious.
12-year-old boy transitions to female...
So was...
Sorry. 12-year-old boy who transitioned to female changes his mind 2 years later.
Oh, ouch! Ouch, how's that feel?
Well,
the narrative has been broken.
I don't think he feels anything because his member's already been lobbed off.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Alright, no, there's no going back from that, is there?
No, there really ain't.
Like, once you cut your cock off, like...
You're fucked.
Yeah.
There is no return, really, to peace and normality. Once you cut that shit off, you're just...
And let's just say you could get it back, it's gonna remember.
Yeah, it's one of those things. There's no return from that.
Oh, we notice that you're using an ad blocker. Yes, I am, because I do not want to give you guys anything. Sorry, independent. But I'm independent of you. Ha 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 ha.
It's like, yeah, using ad blocker is kind of the thing to do.
Yeah. If you guys stop sucking, you might get our money back.
Right?
Sounds like a fair deal.
I find it absolutely amazing that the Associate of Pediatrics basically said that, continuing to push this whole trans thing on kids is child abuse.
Pen, hold up.
Hey!
You said... Yeah, I had to fix stuff. You said he got his member lopped off? No. Let's get this straight. He went into hormonal for estrogen up to a certain point where he ended up having breasts. He had his breasts surgically removed.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I retract my statement. He had something logged off. It's just not the
Yes, he
body
did,
part.
but yeah.
Okay.
He's pretty much at this point when he first started, his mother and him kind of had this kind of conversation where he believed he was female, so she decided to go with that and have him transition.
Lovely.
So she went through the whole tenure of getting him the medications, as well as go seeing the physician in order to go through this. The physician diagnosed him with gender dysphoria at the time, but decided to kind of go against the whole idea of having him transition until much later. She went over and said, no, I want him to be able to transition now, give him what he needs, blah, blah, blah.
I see.
They went through 2 years of hormonal treatment of estrogen, where he then turned around and talked to his mom and said, you know what? I don't think I'm a woman.
Only a woman can brighten up my day.
So all of this is because of her and her belief of what.
Wow.
It goes back
Mommy
to
knows
the idea
best.
of child abuse,
Yes.
where the parent kind of... It really does... Kids up to a certain age are influenced by their parents. So to use your... Because let's face it, being a parent is an authoritative position. To use your position to push your politics onto your children is immoral. You teach them how to think, not what to think. Even if they don't agree with you.
Even if they want to tattoo and you
How
say
dare you say they don't agree with us?
Now you can
I'll slap the shit out of you.
you can disagree with your child. You can tell them why you think the way you think, but let them explore the world around them. Let them figure things out for themselves so that they're not concentrated in this mental bubble that could actually be more harmful than developmental.
developmental. Are you sure you got that right? Developmental.
I'm making up words. I don't care.
You probably.
This is
Thuxor.
fun.
When I was a
Yeah, thanks for the
child,
bearded. Yeah.
when I was a child, I believed I was a dog. My parents didn't transition me into a dog.
You know what? You could
It's coming.
you could have identified as an attack helicopter, and we could take you in to have you on you.
Have your guns.
Oh, I have some Gatling guns attached to your arms and some
Yeah.
propellers on your back.
Hey, technically, that's possible. It's just gonna hurt
You,
a lot.
or you could turn yourself into a pickle. I'm Pickle Thuxor!
Are we still on the pickle even though how long
Yes.
Gotta love the pickle, man. Gotta love the pickle.
Oh, I know.
Rick and Morty, man. Dan Hartman, I'm sorry. I don't agree with your politics, but goddammit, you are a creative genius.
Yes.
Nutter, but hey, he's a creative nutter. He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Speaking of nutters and how well they suck.
Oh God. Go on there.
Yes,
Wait.
Dean Takahashi.
Oh, okay, so
As
I gotta get this one.
we're going to Dean Takahashi. I gave you the article for the actual.
I got Cuphead hands on. 26 minutes of shame.
That'll do. That'll be fine.
I mean, I could go to the article that you gave me. This
But
was
the
kinda,
article, it'll be a lot easier.
added in last minute.
Because basically that's where everybody's getting the article from. How they get all their awesome stuff.
Oh,
So
okay. So
this
Dean
guy-
Taka something. Copy link. Here we go.
Takahashi. Yeah.
I don't Japanese well. This is why I read
Apparently,
subtitles.
you don't do a lot of things well. You gotta watch more anime.
Yes.
Yes.
Lots more. Without
So, Dean Takahashi is a guy that took more time playing the Cuphead tutorial than anybody should have.
a lot of people should have not taken that long. I can understand.
Rated the
like,
game as difficult. Bad game because he took forever to complete the tutorial of it. Think about that, people. This guy is a critic of games. He's a games journalist, and he couldn't get past the tutorial of Cuphead, a game. Not only that, he had some issues with Mass Effect and gave it a bad review because he couldn't wrap his head around the idea that the characters
The character.
The characters what? The characters what?
they leveled up, sir. They leveled up.
Oh.
I
So he
remember
doesn't
that.
understand experience.
He doesn't understand RPGs.
He doesn't understand
Gaming. He doesn't understand gaming at all.
I was gonna say, could you imagine this guy at a D&D session?
His brain would explode.
Like, you gotta roll this, 3D D16s.
So bearded. He tear this man apart. This man is an idiot.
I'm gonna
Deserves.
show this portion here. If you guys want, I am showing you who it's from. It's Appabend. Awesome guy.
Actually, no. Appabend got it out of TB. Who saw this on the article?
I'm just
Appabend
showing the
is-
tutorial phase. I'm just showing the tutorial phase portion of the video.
Yeah, fine. Because I was showing on.
Look
All
at
right.
this. Look at this.
Alright, because I haven't even heard of this game, so let's check out how difficult this tutorial was.
Trust me, it's one of the easiest games.
I'll share the link with you, but oh my god. I'm oh god, it took up
Like, considering...
30
Okay, go.
attempts. Here, check out starting at about a minute 27.
Mm-hmm.
How long it takes him just to get through that portion of it.
Holy shit.
Can't figure it out.
Dude! Jump on the box!
Jump and
He's
dash.
got to spin. Motherfucker,
do it!
Figures it out. Yay! So
This guy would be so fucked on Mega Man.
He wouldn't even be able to. He wouldn't even be able to make it out of the first level of Mario. The original
he kept
Mario
trying
Brothers.
to jump on enemies he couldn't jump on.
Well, I was gonna say probably the first Goomba would fuck him up.
I think the Piranha Plant would get him.
Yeah.
Gator, he played Knights of the Old Republic and said it was a good example of a primitive gaming and average graphics.
You're kidding.
Man knows nothing when it comes down to anything when it comes down to gaming, but somehow we give him a pass as a gaming journalist. And now
How did he get the job? Do we know how much nepotism involved?
How much
Asian.
work did he do?
This way, he's Japanese. How much nepotism does he need?
Well, obviously a lot.
Well, wait a minute. This is an indie developed game.
Mm-hmm.
This unless the guys have ties themselves to the and I'm going to thank Appabend. I'm giving you credit for showing your video. Man, please don't stare at me. Don't hate me. Please. Sorry. Bye.
Just stare into those eyes.
It absolutely boggles my mind that somebody has the audacity to sit there and say this was too hard. This is like you need to be elite gamer to get through this. Games are supposed to be difficult. You're supposed to be able to figure it out as you go. Hence the tutorial. How bad do you have to be at games to not even be able to get the tutorial?
Yeah, literally 7-year-old me is better at gaming than fucker.
I mean, I have seen my mom and my grandma play better than him.
Yeah, that's insane. But, and as you said, how does someone like that get the fucking job? How are they qualified
to get his job?
Yes, please.
Well, I'll tell you how he got his job. He's been a tech journalist for more than 25 years. Covers games for 18. He's a lead writer for Beat Game.
That doesn't.
Lead writer.
Lead writer, yes. He's been doing it for a while.
Why is he a lead?
Jesus.
Well, because he's good at what he does. Apparently, he's got the finger on the pulse of gaming.
No wonder like Gamergate popped up.
It was inevitability. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to people who are the anti or who are going to be the for. Gamergate was a possibility, and it was originally roughly about the 90s after a few articles in that came out that had the gaming industry paying off certain journals to give them good reviews on certain games.
Yeah. When that started,
which was also another good. You also had Dorito-gate, which was another good approach to what was going to be eventually Gamergate.
Yeah,
Gamergate was inevitable. Now, for most people who think of Gamergate, they kind of go, "Oh, it was sexist. It was about Zoe Quinn and the factor that she might have been sleeping around with 5 guys and got some good coverage off of her indie game that really was pretty much a point and click shit game."
Well, it's even the text-based adventure. It was Commodore 64 level programming.
Yeah.
That's really not saying anything.
Well,
12-year-olds are producing better FNAF fan games than anything Zoe Quinn has created.
Oh, he's something even better. All she had to do was spend a couple of bucks, got one of those pre-made up games that all you have to do is add in a sprite. With all the basic scenarios already laid out for you, all you have to do is come with a base story. The RPG Game Maker is another one that she could have used.
Yeah.
Even though
They've
it's
been
a
around
And you could have
for a
got the same
while.
story across. The exact same story across. Easily. And a way that would be more dynamic because you'd be an actual character experience. Because the actual. If anyone's actually played the game, it's actually got a kind of a good point to it about depression. Whether or not it's correct about depression or anything isn't the point. But I do like the idea that someone who's depressed doesn't just have the easy option, and that's the whole idea of the game. You know, the simple option to do the right thing and see a counselor and all that is much more difficult for someone who's depressed than someone who isn't depressed. That I like. And if you had that in an RPG Maker game, even though I wouldn't be amazed, I'd at least say that's pretty damn creative.
It could have been
Ideas where
handled
they
so much better and would have gotten better traction.
Without you needing to suck dick to get press. Sorry.
no, and even that's questionable because if you look at
Yeah.
it, not everybody who in the gaming community, not every gamer knew about this thing that was taking off.
Yeah.
I didn't know about
By the time everybody got to figure this out, we were all dead. Gaming was beyond us now. We were archaic.
Yeah, we were out and the new right thinkers were in.
That's what they thought.
Yeah.
Problem is
Well,
that
I say it, but a lot of communities are easy to infiltrate their fan base.
Well, what they didn't realize is we have a Hulk.
But we have a Hawk, yes. Yeah, but the problem is that if you look at the way how SJWs have gone, they have pretty much destroyed the movie industry to a point.
Yeah.
You know why though? You know why they were able to get
But
You know why they were able to get away with destroying the movie industry? Because Hollywood has such a tight grip. It is extremely hard to get an indie movie published.
Yeah.
It is so much easier recently with video games. And because of indie video games, it is allowed...
no,
Wait. Because of indie video games has opened up the market just a little bit for indie book publishing, indie music. You have people who are just publishing their own stuff solely to places like YouTube, solely uploading from their computers to iTunes without having to go through records, and are making their own money and getting their own publicity.
Well, I'm going to add something else here, is the indie media industry, which is like the YouTubers who have been vlogging, who are now getting a lot more viewers than people like CNN.
Yes.
That's fucking horrific.
When you do not have a conglomerate that is overseeing basically the vast majority of production for its media, you break the chain of who gets to take what. When you have indie developers, now it's consumer based, now it's consumer rule, and it has to win on its own merit.
Yeah.
That's what makes it a good and free. When I say free, I mean free to be able to spread around, not free as in like price, but the free market.
Yeah.
Making a good product that gets to stand on its own.
Yeah, and that's why Google's trying to stop it.
Yes. It's basically it's a form of abuse. It's people basically again trying to the SJWs couldn't rein in games because while there are bigger companies, indie games are coming in, people are making their own. Now there are some bad indies, there's some good indies. But gamers for the most part are the ones that have basically also been ostracized out of society, or supposedly the stigma of being a gamer for the past 20, 30 years. We're like, no, we follow our own rules. We determine what's good because we're the ones spending our money to play it. And we're going to talk to our friends and we're going to debate back and forth what makes a good game. So the SJWs really couldn't get their foot in. They tried banging on the door, they tried shoving their way in, but for the most part, we said, no, you're an abusive ex. We don't want you here. Oh, and speaking of abuse.
Oh.
Well, you're getting better at the segues there, Pen. You're getting better.
I gave you a golden segue to one of our other stories later on, but
Okay, that's good. That's good. So
with the Google controlling things.
Yeah.
I was hoping to go to that one, but went to a different one for abuse. So, according to the last podcast that we did, we did mention that because of the passing of one of the game developers for the Middle-earth Shadow of War, Michael David Fulgry, he decided to create a DLC character, which was about like $5 US, and the proceeds out of that would have went to his family. Remaining would either go to whatever charity of their choices, or to keep the development of that particular character alive and well. Now it's being talked about, or at least brought to attention, especially on Total Biscuit's end, that now there's question whether the family is getting their full amount,
Really?
in a fraction of the amount, or are they getting just a pat on the back? And the developer is keeping the whole thing. In this case, the developer of the entire game is Warner Brothers. Are they abusing the charity?
Oh, wow.
I hope not.
I would hope not. That would,
Especially a big conglomerate like fucking Warner Brothers. They've got enough goddamn money already.
they don't need to just steal money for this. I mean, this had a legit good cause.
Yeah.
This is, wow. They're really supposedly rumors that he's just keeping the cash, huh?
Because this particular DLC cost again $5 US. Now the idea was the total purchase amount would have given the family at least $3.50, and the remaining would have been kept to the developers and the publishers. That was the case in point. But what they're finding is that in states are purchase. There's like their states purchase of 6 out of 50 United States will not result in donations.
Wow.
6 of them. Now, in 43 states outside of it, each one possibly earning 350, kind of. All this is up in the air. There is no explanation. Warner Brothers kind of claims that it won't profit from the charity through this deal, but it doesn't really explain anything else. They don't explain how they're not going to. They don't explain exactly what the proceeds is going to go towards. Nothing on their end. They're all kind of being hush-hush about this. But there's a lot of questions going on from here on. The giant mammoth production profiting, or this is really going to family.
Yeah.
That does raise a question.
Unfortunately, if that's the case, Warner Brothers wouldn't be the only ones that are guilty of this. There's a lot of shady
moving parts.
No. There's a lot of shady third-party developers. There's a lot of like weird developers on Steam that are doing similar things. Here's a video by another YouTuber by the name of Sid Alpha where he talks about devs practices, etc. And one of the things that he was touching up on is this BC Interactive is doing something similar for this weird, really fucked up asset flipper game called Fidget Spinner Simulator, where they
Yep.
started this Autism Spectrum Disorder Foundation, but this guy has like 4 or 5 shadow developer accounts where this isn't even a game. This is you're on one of those two-wheeled hoverboards with a fidget spinner. This is not a game. This is you just ride around on your hoverboard while spinning a fidget spinner in your hand. There's no gameplay, there's no quest items, there's nothing. And so then the question becomes, oh, well, what is this $5 Autism Spectrum Disorder DLC that you'd get to get the you donated achievement, and then where's the money going? Because if this is an asset flipper doing very shady deals by having like 4 or 5 different accounts just to be able to keep putting their games on Steam to try to get quick money, yeah,
Bunny.
it's very questionable.
Oh, it's always about the bunnies. You need a lot of bunnies.
Oh no,
Yeah.
money. If it's
Yeah, I know.
if it sounded like bunny, I'm sorry, but money. It is very questionable
Had it for a while.
as
It's no
to
good.
is this person really honest enough to send the money for autism spectrum or not. And if that would be the case, just donate to the foundation itself directly. Don't even get DSC. So yeah, here's another shout out. Check out Sid Alpha. I'm not sponsoring. I don't get anything by shouting these
You are
guys out.
sponsored. You get everything.
Don't lie.
Fingering. You get a couple of donuts. What else? I mean, you get a lot of things. And then what about the wine that you get? That box of wine that I've seen. You get like boxes of wine. I don't get this.
Wine? But I love the wine.
No, I know. No, there's some.
Speaking of people whining about things that they don't get.
Go.
Oh,
A segue on that one? Okay,
Segue
fine.
to South Park.
South Park, everybody's favorite little game.
we're
Joke
going
that
there.
has. Well, let's put it this way. This is a joke that's gone very far, and for whatever reason, has ire from the SJW side of the world. Currently, your difficulty slider is based off of color. So if you decide to make a white character, you will have a very easy game. If you decide to make a Hispanic character, your gameplay will be averagely normal. And if you want your game to be super hard, well, slide it all the way to the other end in a darker complexion.
Black.
Right?
Just say it. Black.
There you go, black. Homeboy.
I'm going to avoid all the words that are going to probably be used in the game.
Seriously fun.
Why hide what you're going to use in a game?
But wait a minute. This can only be pulled off by South Park. It could only be pulled off by South
Well,
Park.
man, that's what their whole shtick has been. Is just like
Social commentary.
Yeah.
not even social commentary, but just kind of shitting on everyone's opinions. For the
Yeah.
most part.
I just
In the game,
Go ahead. Sorry.
in the game will quip that this doesn't affect combat, but it just affects every other aspect of your whole life. You'll get less money in the game. Be referred differently throughout the game. We can just imagine all the positive words you'd be getting.
Yeah.
Right? All the shit words you're getting. I mean, they've never shied from doing anything.
Oh no,
No.
they haven't. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, obviously you're gonna get the nigger guy joke. You know it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
The chef joke's going to be there somewhere.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to think, yeah. And there'll be some few jokes about Token not being the only token.
They'd have to have that joke. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
not have that happening. If they don't have that, that's where I'm like, why?
well, I think you could.
finally say token's no longer token.
I think in the Stick of Truth, I think you could only play a male character. I don't think you could...
No, yeah, you can only play male, you couldn't play female.
Yeah.
But you could play black.
and
And there was the Jew joke. There was always the Jew joke.
Yeah, you're gonna be a Jew? Yes, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So playing as Mr. Hanky is the hardest level.
You get to play as Mr. Hanky, you're pretty much shit out of luck.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it gives a whole new meaning to the word doo-doo brown.
Yeah.
Damn.
Gender. Yeah. Oh.
Oh my god.
I want some sweetie chocolate balls. Anyways.
It's salty chocolate balls.
I want some salty chocolate balls.
Put them in your mouth. Put in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
I don't think I have a segue for this next one except to say segue.
Nuki can come up with occupations. There is a form of occupations, and
I'm sorry, coming up with segues is not my job. And apparently being a plumber is not Mario.
You're doing it very well. I thought you would. I thought I'd leave you alone this time.
So we're going into what your job is, huh?
Yeah.
She went from one end. Well, she decided to take over my job. So hey, whatever.
I mean, at least it's not being in the kitchen.
She took your job.
Well, I performed very well in the kitchen too. Apparently, people are getting up in arms. Well, certain people are getting up in arms. Nintendo has revealed that Mario's true occupation, plumber.
Hey, why is it got people up in arms?
Some people are up in arms that the factor that it's found out that after decades of playing Nintendo and promoting Mario as pretty much a plumber, that he's not just a plumber.
Oh yeah.
He's a freelancer.
Yeah, he's a freelancer.
Oh, I fucked that up. I should have said he's a freeloader. But no, I mean freelancer.
No, the freeloader. Yeah, that worked out. That would have worked too. He is a freeloader. No, I mean, doesn't anybody remember Jumpman?
Yeah, exactly.
He was a carpenter in it.
He was a carpenter in that, and then in he was kind of a carpenter in Donkey Kong 2. He wasn't necessarily a plumber there, but then in Super Mario, he became a plumber.
Yeah.
Oh, well, not too sad, but if you look at Donkey Kong Jr., he's the main villain for that one, and
that's what I mean. He's a one. Exactly.
He was a circus runner in that one.
Yeah.
Really, there's just. I mean, whether it be tennis, soccer,
Body planner.
Yeah, go-kart, race.
This is called NASCAR.
Yeah, it's just.
What else?
Because he's done.
Let's not forget professional fighter because of Smash Bros.
Yeah, exactly. MMA fighter.
So, he's been a wizard. I mean, he's been a lot of different things.
Yeah, that was during his midlife crisis, where he just didn't know what to do with his life. After Peach left him for Bowser for the 8th time.
I thought it was the 28th time.
Oh, and he was a doctor.
Yeah, we mentioned Doctor.
Doctor.
Oh.
Open your ears up. He's also a dreamer. If we want to...
listening, come on.
He was also a baby at one point.
Yes, he was a baby.
Yes.
Again.
Well, I don't know if that's really a career, but we'll give it to him.
Are you kidding? You're a baby
that's
least
right,
for
Beard.
3
He was
years of
also
your
the
life.
referee. He was also the referee in Punch-Out.
Yes, he was.
Right. Yes, he was. I'll be damned. I forgot about that.
But except for bearded one over there.
Let's see. We mentioned the Olympics yet?
Yeah, we've got the Olympics and all full glorious stuff. I mean, keep in mind, like I said, first appeared in Donkey Kong as a carpenter, moved on. Super Mario Maker, handyman.
Oh, so
Mario
wait a minute.
RPGs.
That means Mario is also a game developer. You could design the levels.
Yes.
Fact. is, and he's also been some furries.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's totally into being
The
the
Tanukis.
the Tanuki suit.
The cat suit.
Does the Tanuki suit have a what do they call that forward flap that's used for?
For peeing.
No, not the one that's used
He's
for
also been a
screwing.
frog. Don't forget he also had a frog suit.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
he
right.
did.
Oh yeah.
Fucking
Praise
freak.
Keck.
Yeah, was he the first Kakistani?
But
I
he's
think
never
he
been
was
a
the
blue
first
whale.
Kekistani.
He would be the first Kekistani, but he's never been a blue whale.
No, oh hell
No.
no.
Blue whale.
Alright.
Well, I mean, it's kind of insane that people are throwing a fit about them revealing his
True identity.
information. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of should have seen it coming, being the fact of how often they've thrown his identity all over the place in the first place.
Yeah, and also it's just who gives a shit? Really, who cares?
Yeah. I mean,
Like it's the epitome of first world problems.
He was also a painter.
We mentioned that.
Oh
yeah,
damn.
Mario Paint.
Nah. He was also made out of paper once.
Oh,
Paper Mario, yeah, there's something new, yeah.
oh, and we forgot Golfer, by the way, but okay.
Oh, what? Oh, he would have been a janitor too. Super Mario Sunshine.
Yes, he would have.
Jesus Christ, Mario! Stop changing careers.
And a
Jobs
galactic
is Homer
space
Simpson.
traveler. Super
but
Mario
he's had-
Galaxy.
Yeah, he's had as many jobs as Homer Simpson.
Oh, no.
He hasn't held the job of technique.
You
Or Pat.
want to know something? I have a theory about what the original Super Mario Brothers was supposed to be about. Think about it. You have a plumber. You have pipes everywhere. So obviously his job as a plumber, right? And then he goes into a sewers and then he finds some tripped up princess who thinks she's been kidnapped by turtles. And then he gets high on the mushrooms that she's having. So then they keep telling her, "Oh, your princess in another castle."
Yeah.
It's just one long trip. It's just one long trip while he was going into the sewers to do his job, and there's a princess.
And then Mario 2 is still being hooked on it because he's dreaming. And then Mario 3 is the play he made whilst being high, based on his adventures.
That's pretty deep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Speaking of being deep.
Oh, God.
Being deep and having to go, look for things on the web and, from beyond the grave.
On the grave? Well, wasn't that much of the beyond. David Bowie, people.
Hey, David Bowie.
I can't believe that's a thing after he's been buried.
Oh. Bowie was a regular contributor to DavidBowie.com, a forum for his official website. And his final message, written weeks before he died, contained a warning about the future of humanity. The information controlled by one Google.
He wasn't a very big fan of Google.
No, he was not.
No, basically, he believed Google was Illuminati to a point, a fascist dystopia.
Well, it's not far off, to be honest.
Oh, and he just wanted people to be warned about this internet search engine and its ability to infiltrate a lot of different things. It's controlled by the elite for the most part, and it has the ability to, enslave or change the direction that human evolution.
And, okay, as crazy as this sounds, it's not far off the mark.
No, it really ain't.
That's the horrifying part, is David Bowie is not being that crazy here. He's actually kind of onto something. And he was onto something before I realised he was onto something. Because he died a while ago.
He died last year.
Yeah.
And apparently he's still kicking.
Yeah, he's ahead of the fucking game.
The curve ever since.
All right.
And man's a genius, I have to say, and state of Google and where they are kind of going into. Even afterwards, apparently Google's getting a little bit of flack from the political spectrum as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The warning from the Goblin King, and this is what it results in.
Yes. I get it.
Yeah.
Where Google loses allies across the political spectrum.
Well, there was inevitability because of the factor that of what we just stated earlier is the fact that they have control over the direction or the course of whatever spectrum that they want, because it is a giant search engine. And if they want to, they can pretty much campaign and pick which candidate is going to win or lose.
But they're already doing that since... Yeah, they're already doing that. They're changing the search results and based on what you want to see. You know, they're making sure that you don't have anything Islamophobic, aka true about Islam, you know, and all sorts of other shit with their search engine. You know? Hashtag DuckDuckGo.
But again, when it came down to it, if they decided to put their initiative against let's put it this way, the previous election, we probably wouldn't see a Donald Trump. We would probably see a Hillary Clinton.
Very likely. They could have, I reckon, if they tried harder, they could have buried Vault 7.
Yeah.
4chan was just too fast for them.
Well,
of course, 4chan is usually faster, but what do you...
Thexor, yes, you're right. At the moment, they don't. But even there was even a time when AOL was on top of the world, and they even fell.
I remember when AOL was the engine to use.
And then there was Yahoo, and then
it's the
was
biggest
Google.
giant that you could possibly have. They had control over a little different spots. A lot of you social media went through something called MySpace.
Yeah.
Right?
Even gods can bleed. Google will never disappear, but it can lose traction.
Well, as we said, MySpace still exists, but who uses it?
Yeah, well, again, Yahoo still exists. Who uses it?
Yeah, Alta Vista still exists.
Exactly. I mean, I think Ask Jeeves gets more traction than AOL.
Yeah.
Damn.
Poor Ask Jeeves.
Jeeves is the man. I hate to say it.
Oh my god, that just reminded me. I heard this. There's this guy doing a stream, and he said he considered himself a veteran internet guy because he's been on it since 2009. And I was like,
wow.
My Windows 98 laughs in your fucking face, loser.
I was just gonna say, I was surfing the internet back in 1995, motherfucker. I got 10 years on you.
Shit. I forget how long it's been since I've been on
the first time I ever surfed the net, it was not. It's a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
But before the internet was what the internet is, like today, that's for sure.
But definitely.
Oh yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, all just small web games and email.
Yeah. Oh no, and some image boards and some message boards. Message boards were a lot more popular back then.
They were.
Well, they kind of still are. I mean, what do you think 4chan is but just a big message board?
No, of course it is. But I guess they came in different forms back then.
No, you're right. They did come in.
4chan is moved beyond being just a message board.
Yeah, it's a fucking living entity. It's an army. It's like it's almost a god.
Becoming a god. Everybody so it's like, okay.
It's kind of scary. The power of 4chan.
Oh god, Telnet. Oh god, for the win.
Telnet. Oh god. Speaking of old, apparently Sega is thinking of doing a fast mini phone. Those who are interested, a mini version of Dreamcast games in one little tiny
Really?
unit like Nintendo. Yes.
Ooh, I am
Ooh.
all for that.
Interesting.
And Dreamcast is the only game console I haven't officially played.
Really?
It's the only game console I haven't played.
Wait, you played a Mega CD?
Yep.
3DO? I'm challenging you because I've had okay. What are the ones that I've had? Neo Geo.
Never heard
Yes,
of
I
that.
remember the Web TV.
You had a Neo Geo? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
No?
What is a Neo Geo? So I may understand that I may have called it something else.
I believe it. I believe it's made by Panasonic. I may be wrong there, but it's basically the console that inhabited Metal Slug,
No, I don't think I had it. I had
among
a
others.
keyboard that you hooked up to your TV. They turned it into a computer.
That's pretty
Okay.
fucking cool.
Neo
Sorry.
Geo is a video game hardware developed by SNK, going up to about the 2000. They were mostly a Japanese organization who dealt with either handheld or a board game or the arcade system. Now, the idea behind the Neo Geo was you had a card system. If you played the Neo Geo game at the arcade, you were able to transfer whatever information you had over to their console system and play continuously
So-
off of that.
So it was the
Yes.
first Amiibos.
Yes, more or less.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
They also had the Neo Geo Pocket, which was kind of the competitor against the game. It didn't do
Game
very
Gear.
well.
Yeah. I gotta admit, I never had a Neo Geo Pocket. I did have a Game Gear and a Lynx though.
Okay, so let's see. I had
Go ahead.
a NES. I had a Sega Genesis. Then I had a N64. Then I had the GameCube. When I got in my brother, that was the last console that my brother and I were forced to share as we were growing up, which was fine. But the second that I got my own job after graduating high school was I bought myself an Xbox, the original Xbox, and a PlayStation 2.
Okay.
And those, it was like, let your brother play. It's like, excuse me, I bought these with my own hard-earned money. And if he's going to keep leaving the discs out of their boxes, hell no, I don't want him playing on it.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I had a pretty good console collection, but it got lost to something, and I'd rather not talk about that because it makes me mad. But yeah, I had a huge one, about 16 consoles in total.
Damn.
Yeah, because I used to actually collect them. Like most of them, I didn't even play; they were just there for me owning them sake.
Status?
Yeah.
So I had the original Atari system, the 2600, the 50. Then we had the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. I went away from Nintendo after a while after the Game Boy. Got into Sega, got the Sega Master System, the Genesis, the expansions that it came with. Unfortunately, I had this giant monster Frankenstein. I ended up getting the TurboGrafx, a ColecoVision, and Intellivision.
ColecoVision. Nice.
And then I got my first major gaming unit that I actually bought with my own money, which was because fuck Microsoft's idea of gaming when you have an actual proper CD-ROM in that, and why go with whatever Nintendo was trying to come up with, because they pretty much fucked over not only Panasonic but the people behind Sony to create the PlayStation. PlayStation 2, the third one. Eventually, I ended up getting a 360. I don't really get. I gave that away. Current market, I have the Switch, the PlayStation 4. I had an Xbox One, got rid of it, and we have PC.
PC is just king now.
PC's always been
Not
king.
exactly.
Master Race.
No. Well, I don't know about that. I reckon there was a time when when PlayStation games were above PC games for a short time.
Point. It always depended on the game.
And the region you lived in.
Well, that too.
Well, and see,
But
at least with the PlayStation 3, it opened it up to where you could have region-free games. So technically, you could get Japanese games or European games and still play them on your US PlayStation 3.
I liked about the PlayStation.
but I know what you're
for me, the reason why I liked the PlayStation was I was able to get all the region games, be able to play it because there was a few ways to. There was workarounds. You had the Game Shark that was able to play all your burnt or your foreign games, whether it be a PAL or whatever.
yeah. But like, I'm gonna put it this way. This is like back in the day when I had a 486 in around 1997, and I also had a PlayStation, like original PlayStation. The PlayStation could play Final Fantasy VIII. There's no fucking way the 486 could ever play Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the reason why I got it, because of the Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
After playing it on Nintendo, the original one, and following the entire set, and found out later that hey, there was 6. Going into 7, I'm like going, so we only had 3. What are the other 3 that I'm missing? And
Yeah.
and I found out
There's no cohesive story. It's not like, oh my god, I've missed so much.
See,
Everyone's basically a new universe.
Yeah. See,
it's the same. It's the same thing with what was it? The Sega game that they had. Was it Phantasma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of followed a certain storyline, but it kind of changed.
Yeah.
You weren't too sure.
Yeah, but I think that's why I like Final Fantasy VIII so much, is because it really deviated from the story. Like, all the general universe. Yeah. But, anyway. I'll say one of my proudest collections of the thing was an upright original Nintendo, where you put the games without a spring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I had... What was it? I had Nintendo Super... 64, GameCube, PlayStation 2. I ended up buying Xbox and eventually a PS3 after 360, and I had problems.
Yeah. Well, eventually it just became too expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other consoles I ever played on were because friends and family owned it, and they were like,
8 tracks, sir. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt there, Draconath. But Bearded mentioned 8 tracks. Yeah, get off my lawn. That puts you back into what? I'm going to be thinking that you're roughly around 40, probably 50 if you're looking at that, maybe even 60s.
If you know about 8 tracks, that sounds about.
Well, wait a minute. Wasn't there 8-track games available for the Commodore 64?
Psh, Laserdisc, bitch.
Yeah, but no one really had them.
Dragon's Lair.
Oh god, oh fuck.
Speaking of Dragon Slayer, we'll go back to Draconath and his story.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the actual thing we're talking about. Sorry about the deviation.
I am the queen of segues and deviations.
No. See, she's getting better.
Yeah,
she's
she
getting
is.
better.
We'll have to get Reigns to rein her in.
So what we're originally talking about?
What are you talking about getting rains? I'm about to get rain in about 8 hours, bitch.
So she's going to be walking in water.
I'm walking on sunshine.
Back to the topic!
Well, I mean, the games I was mentioning the games. Like the only games I ever played outside of those consoles were because my family had it. I'd go to a friend's house, family's house, be like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Where's your Super Nintendo? Where's your Sega? It's over there. Why?" Sitting there in the corner, just going, "I'm good." I'm just over in the corner going, "I like
So fuck the topic, right? Whatever it was about.
Last piece of news, y'all. Last piece. I gotta dodge before Magic Bubblehead gets his head, exploded with the nostalgia trips. LA Noire is getting a remaster for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the Switch, and the HTC Vive.
Holy shit!
Say what?
Really?
I need the link for that, man. Give me the link. Give me
That's
the link. Link it.
that gives me a boner.
I mean, I heard you right.
Gives
You
you,
said
gives you a
LA
stiffy?
Yes.
Holy, see that's kind of, I don't know if I really want to know about that, but yeah.
Well, you do now.
Yeah, now we know what gives you a bony. Okay, a fish boner. I guess that's what I always wanted to know about.
Well, fish have bones. You should know that by now.
I usually squish stuff out of slots, man.
Well, fish bones are good for like toothpicks.
But how big of the bones we're talking about here on a fish?
Yeah, because for a dragon, you kind of need like human-sized bones, and with that, I'm gonna hide right behind the road.
You'd be surprised how much
good
at the finite pulling of human bones out.
LA Noire remastered. I wish I'd just make a second one, but
well, didn't the first one
no.
to justify a sequel?
Well, the first one, the guy does die, but there's no reason why you couldn't.
Shh! Don't ruin it for people who haven't played it yet.
Spoilers.
Spoiler warning! Too late.
Fuck you! It's been like a decade. Eat my fucking dick if you haven't played it yet.
I mean, if you haven't played it now, you probably aren't.
People,
going to
if you like fish sticks, you're gay.
Yeah. I'm offering you one right now.
God damn it! Oh god, you just reminded me of that whole music video South Park did of gay fish sticks.
Yeah.
Speaking of South Park, let's go. No.
No. Go. Okay.
All right. On that.
Okay. So yeah, on that note.
Sorry.
We're gonna wrap this one up. We're gonna call it a night. And if you guys want to hang out somewhere, I guess we can get a what is it? An after chat party going on? But
yeah.
Well, I mean,
she's at our Discord.
I could get an after chat party going on, but I'll leave that vote to you guys. Do you want me to set up one? Yes or no?
Is there anyone in the chat that?
We're gonna leave it up to the chat. Does the chat want to do one? Do you want to chit chat with us? You want to,
Let's give chat about 30-45 seconds to catch up.
Yeah, no. Because keep in mind, we're gonna have to pimp our little our Discord, probably our channels, all that kind of bullshit, so we can get a final clue before we kind of move on.
So exactly. So question chat: do you want a hangout? Do you want to hang out with us? We'll give you a link. But for the moment, while we wait for your answer, we're gonna shill.
Otherwise, we got to shill. We need to know. So Draconath, where can we find your ass?
YouTube, Draconath, or Twitter, or preferably VidMe if I can get enough followers to actually upload more than 30 minutes once a week.
Then currently,
YouTube's easiest.
But what are you going to be uploading?
Twitter, my brain is kind of. It's late for this dragon.
Okay, you play dragon-related games such as what? Final bullshit? No, Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I'm actually going to start doing tomorrow starts my girlfriend and I playing Sonic the Hedgehog series. From the first one up to Mania.
Interesting. That's pretty interesting. Okay, let's see who we're going to move on to. Let's move on to the fish person.
Okay, well, me, I've still got to be on politics. Unable to do videos still because I'm working on moving. If you want to see me ever tweet, I occasionally do that on DavidMe87. But that's just, once again, when I tweet, I tweet. Other than that, I'll do a video eventually.
Just think of it, people. A fish tweeting.
Yes. Just smashing himself on the keyboard.
Oh yeah, that fishbowl and everything. As for me, I am the Canadian Rogue. Before we get to the host, I think we should get rid of all the guests first before going to the last person and kind of holding it over. I don't see anybody here wanting to do an after chat, so it's just us.
Yeah.
I am the Canadian Rogue. You can pretty much Google it, all one word, and find me somewhere. I've got a VidMe. I am the founders for the GNF Bogcast, as well as our host for this. You can catch us there. We have a YouTube as well. We also have a Podbean going on that will be going up and me going through a lot of editing. I am kind of just starting my own little LP. I'll be focusing on Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, one of my faves. And we'll hope to see you next time.
And
On Dragon Ball Z. Sorry.
you guys, of course, can find me here on my channel, PeninaChan Null, or you can also find me on Minds.com, on Twitter, and also on VidMe. This will not be the last of these videos. We would be happy if you guys enjoy, and we will look forward to producing better content in the future. Not saying that this was bad content, but, you know, upping the quality of our content for you. Any final closing thoughts? No?
Before we go, Pen, do you by any chance put the GNF on the bottom bar for some of these people here that want to probably join?
Oh, so, okay. Are you talking about the Discord, or are you talking about the actual...
Or Discord, the Discord.
I will put the Discord link in the description section below.
Awesome! So there you go,
You guys-
Bubblehead, and whoever else is interested, please go over to the Discord and you can pretty much, chit chat us with us there because we have a few things for you to peruse.
Also, links for Draconath, links for Draconath, Nemo, and Rogue are all in the description as well. So please check that.
How about you? Are you there too?
This is my channel.
Sure, you
So
can
of course they're there.
If they find it, they're already here. Just make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button.
She's
Segue.
pimping well.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by. I don't know if I will be available next week to continue on my Let's Plays because depends on if my power goes out or not. But as soon as I know, I'll let you know. Have a great evening and talk to you later. Bye.
Peace.
Latest.